Okay, good morning, everybody. Thanks, Keith, for that great introduction, and welcome everybody to RSTechED. It's a pleasure to be here. I've been here quite a few years with all of you, and it's great to see everybody here today. We've got a great event. You saw we've got some great attendance this year, and the number of class courses are fantastic, and so I think you're going to enjoy the week, and I think it's going to be a great value for you. So let's get started. You've probably heard us talk about the connected enterprise. In fact, if you've gone to any Rockwell Automation event anywhere in the world, maybe one of those RSTechEDs or our automation fair, you've heard about the connected enterprise. It's about connecting people, processes to make your organizations more productive. It's about driving value. And so I know it's Monday morning, but we're going to do a little audience participation. And so raise a hand if any of you believe your enterprise is a connected enterprise. All right. Got a few. How about if you are an equipment provider, a service provider, to help your customers achieve a vision of a connected enterprise? A lot of you folks might be partners. Not too many hands. How about people who stayed too long at the hospitality event last night? Okay, all right, well, I picked up the rest of the crowd. So I think what's funny about that is that in the reality, a lot of our organizations are on a journey to the connected enterprise. Keith mentioned the Internet of Things, and I think we've all heard about that. And so the connected enterprise is an important part of all of our enterprises. And so this morning we'd like to talk to you a little bit about how we achieve that vision. And I bet, in fact I know, many of you are farther along than you think. So why do we call it a journey? Well, I'm going to use a simile, another example. Think of the music industry, and I'm going to be honest, I'm going to date myself a little bit here. So back in the 70s, music was stored on LPs or long play records. Anybody still have any LPs? Yeah, there's more in the audience than you'd think, right? As the music industry evolved, the next thing that came along was 8-track tapes. Remember 8-track tapes? Anybody? Yeah, you had to go through the whole thing before you got back to the other end. Wasn't a good design. The next thing that came along was cassettes, and finally digital media, compact discs. What was important about compact discs? Well, as soon as we came to compact discs, we were able to transfer that information digitally, store it on our PCs, and then eventually store it on our personal devices. Well, as connectivity improved, the access to that information became everywhere, wherever we were. Today, I'm sure most of us have personal devices in the room, if not one, but several, and that information is available to you wherever you want it. So the inflection point happened as the digital industry started dubbing that. And so like the automation industry, we're at an inflection point. Think of all the key technologies that are starting to come into your plants. Think of all the technologies that are starting to come into your automation designs. And so that inflection point is important. And so like the music industry, the automation industry is changing. Now, the other thing that's happening is devices are getting smarter. You know, we think of the personal devices that we all have and think of 10, 15, 20 years ago, how those devices have changed. Well, the same is happening on the plant floor. Assets and devices are becoming smarter. They could be control systems, digital drives, sensors. The whole system is becoming smarter. So talking about automation systems getting smarter might seem a little like science fiction. And we were kidding around as we were preparing this information to you that the rise of the machines, you know, kind of like the Terminator movies, was beginning to happen around us. But as intelligent assets become smarter and the Internet of Things connects those assets, the factory, the production floor and the production environment is becoming smarter, and we're seeing this rise of the machines. And that rise of the machines and that connectivity is creating value. So, as control systems evolve and they become smarter, and equipment builders, machine builders, and solution providers can provide smarter connected assets and systems to their customers, plants over time will become smarter. All of the devices, all of the intelligent assets, all of those machines become smarter, and as we interconnect them, the opportunity for value increases. So, we've all heard of the Internet of Things, yes? Because you're all participating in the Internet of Things. And so there's a lot of value that's being created. In fact, our good business partner, Cisco Systems, estimates that about $14 trillion of value has been created. And so that number continues to rise year over year as more and more devices get connected. Well, what's important about that in this context? Well, about a third of that, about 27% of that value is in the industrial space. And so the industrial Internet of Things is going to create over $4 trillion of value. You know, we talk a lot about revenue and growth. $4 trillion of value makes organizations more profitable and more productive. So let's take a look at how Rockwell Automation and our partners are important here, help create that value. So at Rockwell Automation, the journey to the connected enterprise has been driving our investments. And those investments are primarily focused at helping you enable your journey to the connected enterprise. The most significant of those investments are the enhancements to our integrated architecture, the innovations, the evolution that'll bring our architecture into the future. And so we've spoken to this audience over the last few years a lot about those investments. And I try to strike a balance between telling you where we're headed and what we're spending on and the things that are coming out today. And so over that period of time, we've introduced over 50 new products and platforms. And you might say, wow, that's a lot over the last few years. Well, it is, but because of that investment stream, and we're finally getting to the peak of that, that's going to accelerate over the next few years. So, Logix is the center of our smart environment. That's been out for almost a decade, and that's a platform we continue to build on. And what's important about that is Logix is going to start to get a lot smarter. And so we're not only expanding the capabilities of that platform, and we're making it more scalable, you can use it in more applications, we're also making it more powerful and more accessible and better connected. The Logix platform is getting smarter. So, in addition to the evolution of our architecture, we're also trying to leverage all of those intelligent devices and assets. All of those things that are becoming a bigger and bigger part of our world are becoming a bigger and bigger part of the automation environment. And so connectivity, those smart devices, are going to add more value. But it's important, as all those devices get connected, the complexity can increase. And so we need to keep that simple. Things just simply need to work. And so to make our control system smarter and more connected, we're advancing our communication system. You might recall, if you've been around for a while, that Logix was introduced as a communication server. It's always been designed to transfer information. That was its primary function. And now we're going to update that infrastructure. And frankly, what that's going to allow us to do with the Logix platform and the industrial Internet of Things is probably one of the most exciting things that's happened in automation, well, probably since Logix came out. And so the latest communication system embeds standard unmodified Ethernet. You might remember we talk a lot about that. That's a key enabler. But now it's not just between our products, it's inside of our products as well. And so all of those devices become smarter. Every intelligent device that shares that technology becomes part of that smart environment. It'll be smarter, it'll be more productive, and it'll be more secure. So to make all these smart things come together, it's a tremendous value. But I mentioned earlier, it also can be complex. And so how do we give you that value? And so to us, that's through our products, our platforms, and our workflows to make you more productive as you implement your version of the connected enterprise. And so this year at TechEd, we've got a tremendous focus on design productivity. In fact, it'll be our most significant release of design productivity tools ever as part of our Studio 5000 suite. We're talking about system organizers. We're talking about modular automation. We're talking about tools that help you not only create, store, and reuse your intellectual property. So if you're a solution provider or a machine builder or a user, that standardization is important to drive more productivity. We talk a lot about design productivity. I think a lot of us are probably from an engineering background. But today we're going to shift that focus a little bit. We're going to talk about operational productivity. So think of it this way. If you thought about the life cycle of an automation system, and we start from the time you select something, you design it, you deploy it, and you operate your plants and frankly maintain it over time, the biggest part of that life cycle is its operational life. Sometimes 10, 15, 20, or 25 years. So if you're a user, how many of you still have PLC 5s in your plants? Yeah, a lot of us, right? And so that product line is over 30 years old. So it gives you some sense of where the opportunity is. And so if you want to drive productivity in a plant, though, it's about standardization, it's about visibility, and it's about better decision making. And so operational productivity is a huge advantage. But what's the challenge today? Well, it's about connectivity. Can you connect those intelligent assets, those automation systems of the present and the past, to your enterprise environment so that you get visibility and you can run your business? That's a challenge that a lot of manufacturers have, and they still exist today. And frankly, it's one of the challenges that us as Rockwell Automation has had. So What can you do about that? Well, in today's connected world, when we have the ability with technology to connect these intelligent devices, there's systems like manufacturing execution systems that can provide that gap. They can bridge that gap between the real-time control environment and the business environment. And we like to think of these as real-time control on the plant floor. So our MES offering is called FactoryTalk Production Center. It's a standard basis for standardizing your production processes. That means more sustainable production. It means better time to market. It means better quality. And so you'll hear more about this when Bob Murphy, our VP of Operations, comes up and talks about our journey in Rockwell Automation to the connected enterprise. So, over a decade ago, we made a strategic decision. We made a decision to move our system to standard unmodified Ethernet, not proprietary industrial automation system networks, not proprietary versions of Ethernet, standard unmodified Ethernet. And that was important. That was important as an enabler because it allows us to move our platforms onto new technology. That could be cloud systems, it could be mobility, it could be virtualization, and we've got a number of examples of that. Our Plant PX virtualized systems, our mobility offerings, our service offerings in our remote services business. There's a number of things that make that available to all of you, and they're all based on that strategic decision for a common industrial network. So, these two new technologies also allow for flexible deployments. I'm sure we've all been involved in large capital expenditures and large programs. Those are hard to approve, those last many years, and they put a financial burden on the organization, a press for the return on that investment. But these new technologies also enable new financial models. You can turn all that CapEx into OpEx, and it gives you flexibility financially from a maintenance standpoint and a migration standpoint. And so those offerings I mentioned provide different business models, and I'd encourage you to learn about those this week as well. So, now we're connected. We've used the integrated architecture, that smarter system, we've connected the enterprise, we've pulled all this real-time information and data together, and what's the first thing that happens? IT gets involved. And what does IT say? Is it secure? Is it compliant? Are you allowing role-based access so the right folks have the right access to the right information? Are you protecting our intellectual property? Are you protecting our enterprise, and are you reducing our risk? Well, a decade ago, those might have seemed like pretty stretched questions. But today, security, information security in the industrial environment is critical. It's important, and frankly, it's table stakes. You need a secure environment to operate your plants. Remember, automation systems are resilient, they're reliable, and now they need to be secure. So, as we mentioned, we made a strategic decision over a decade ago to put the integrated architecture on standard unmodified Ethernet. Since then, we've mastered all the challenges of the industrial environment, right? Real-time control, determinism, safety, security, motion. All of these things are part of the integrated architecture today. The challenges were mastered with our common industrial protocol, and today we have a network and security offering that's robust and built on standard technologies. Key partners like Cisco Systems and Microsoft help us achieve those goals. So, the key message to our security offering is about a unified path to a secure environment. We need to take that common path to move ourselves forward, but we recognize everybody's in some place different today. I mentioned earlier we've got plants with production systems that have been there for decades. And so that capability to help move everybody forward is key. And so as we advance our security offering and our network offering, just know that we're not going to leave anybody behind. We're going to move you ahead on both your existing assets and your new access into the future so that you can secure your connected enterprise. So, we were talking about the journey to the connected enterprise, and we've been on it for some time. And if you're using the integrated architecture and the Logix platform, so are you. But that journey is not new. The journey's been the same, and it's been there for decades. And I'm going to date us all a little bit. If you look up at that screen and you see things that look familiar to you, it's because this message has been around for a long time. It's about connecting the enterprise and providing more value. Those images are the history of the connected enterprise. Now, what has changed is the speed and agility required to remain competitive. How you bring your organization forward into the future, and then frankly, with those common technologies, future-proof it. So, Rockwell Automation's entire portfolio of products, solutions, and services, and those of our partners, have been designed to help you on that journey. But we can't do it alone. Several times today I've mentioned our partners. In fact, many of you in the audience are part of our partner network right now. And so all those folks are helping us achieve that vision of the connected enterprise. And so I'll take the opportunity to say thank you for that help. Okay, what's the connected enterprise really about? And what do we mean? Well, the connected enterprise is about value. So if you're a machine builder and faster time to market is important for you, if you're a solution provider or you work with your end users where lowering your cost and improving your asset utilization is important, or frankly, if you're any one of those and you want to reduce your risk and have a common secure environment and make that resilient automation system secure, the connected enterprise is simply about providing value. How does that journey feel? Do you feel like you're a little bit more on that journey than you thought? Well, probably. And so we thought it would be interesting today to do something different. We always talk about our customers and we give examples. We always talk about how you're helping us achieve that vision. But today we're going to talk about our own journey to the connected enterprise. And so today Rockwell Automation runs over 20 plants around the world. North America, Latin America, Asia Pacific, South Pacific, and Europe. Those 20 plants have just gone through a major business process transformation. We replaced our enterprise solution with SAP. And along with that, on our journey to the connected enterprise, we had to update our operational excellence systems. And so our journey and the folks in our operations group have been working on that for several years. And so this morning, Bob Murphy, come on up here, Murph, our Rockwell Automation's Vice President of Operations, is here to talk to us about that journey. So Bob and his team have been executing our version of the connected enterprise for the last several years. Good morning, Bob. Welcome to RSTechED.
Good morning, Frank. Glad to be here.
Well, so Bob, I know we talk about the challenges our customers face and the values they're trying to achieve. I have to believe we had many of the same ones.
Absolutely we did. And I'm excited to tell the story about how we went about our journey at Rockwell Automation for all of you this morning.
So that's my cue to get off the stage and let Bob tell you about the journey. I would be remiss as a peer in the organization to say what I've learned over the last year about our journey to the connected enterprise is outstanding. I think you and your team have done a great job, and I want everybody else to hear about it.
Thanks, Frank. Much appreciated.
Okay, Bob.
How about a round of applause for Frank Kulaszewicz?